Chief Mark Quiet Hawk Gould has served in tribal leadership since the early 1970s and was one of the key leaders involved in the governmental reorganization of the Nanticoke-Lenni-Lenape tribal nation. Chief Gould is well known and respected among tribal governments all along the eastern seaboard and was recently honored to represent all of the native nations of the United States in a United Nations-sponsored worldwide conference on indigenous cultures in Beijing, China. Yeah, it's pretty impressive, yeah. He has led our tribal nation in diplomatic endeavors, meeting with President Bill Clinton and being an honored guest of the President of the United Nations General Assembly, Jan Ellison. Chief Gould has received dignitaries from other tribal governments and foreign heads of state, including the royal family of Sweden. Chief Mark Gould is committed to preserving and promoting tribal sovereignty and culture for the future generations of the Nanticoke-Lenni-Lenape people. It is indeed my great honor to present to you my chief, Chief Mark Quiet Hawk Gould of the Nanticoke-Lenni-Lenape tribal nation.
Nation. I just wanted to tell you, I was told by Reverend Norwood that the only thing I had to do tonight was come up here and stand in the corner and be stoic. Now, something's wrong with that picture, because here I am. I guess what I really, I like to convey to everyone that I talk about my people. I was just honored with some books that are in Polish that I can't read yet, but they're about my family. So as soon as I find out what this is, I'm going to be gratified. I think I know what it is, but one of the things that really happened in the last 35 years, it was not all right to be in it. I don't know if you can understand that or not. The punishment that we went through were just self-declaration. It was horrendous. So I know what I went through, and I'm 68. I know what my mother and my grandmother before her had to go through just to stand out and be proud of who you are. About, I guess, 1972, us young upstarts said that we've had enough of this. We know our history. It's been passed down. Why is it disallowed? Why has it been disallowed all these years? So one of the things that we did, we took our leadership, and this is a good thing and a bad thing, we took our leadership out of the churches. That was the only cohesive thing that really kept our leadership together so that we could stay as one family. Our family, the Nanticoke-Lenni-Lenape, really extended from South Jersey into the Dover area in Delaware, down to Indian River 100. That's why we are the Nanticoke-Lenni-Lenape. It's due to the fact that we don't know which amount of blood is the strongest in her, because we've married for the last 300 years back and forth. We try to keep the blood flowing as, I'm not going to say as pure, but as tight as we can. Just to show you an example, when the upstarts started their, what they called the trouble in the state of New Jersey, the governor said that you can't accept any monies, you can't do this, you can't do that, unless you become a 501c3. And to get recognized, you have to show me your history. That was easy. But the most generous thing that the governor did to us was to make us do our genealogy. There's well over 12,000 of us just living in the southern end of New Jersey. Forget about what happened in Delaware, because there's probably another 12,000 on that side of the river. But to incorporate, like they wanted us to, so that we could go forth, we had 800 people And out of these 800 people, I can remember because some of these people I used to fight, some of the people I used to want to go with as young, because they were cute, you know? But we never knew until we actually did the genealogy that we were anywhere from first cousins to fifth cousins. Because if my brother or my father's brother went over here and married somebody on that side, they had already married back into the family, so that person that was married over there ended up being my cousin from the other side. I didn't know that I was a cousin to my first wife. Well, you couldn't help yourself. And my second wife, she's back there, she says, I'm not related to you. And then we did the genealogy. And Reverend Fisher married a Pierce. Which Pierce? Now I'm married to my cousin again. But see, this was done in two ways. We were forced because we weren't at home with any other nationality. Things that we did were different. We felt like outsiders, or we were let known we were outsiders. So we kind of had to stay to ourselves. And I remember what my grandpa did with my dad and them. He put them in a wagon. And he took 2 weeks off to take them to Cheswold. And Dad said, that's how you find your wife. Well, my dad didn't find his wife over there. He found one within the tribe in New Jersey. But everybody else is either married on both sides of the river. And we thought it was a bad thing that had happened to our ancestors because we were forced to stay in that little block. But we found out that that was the most generous thing that could have ever happened to us. Because for one thing, I can trace my genealogy as far as I want to. And in all the directions, they all go out and they all come back in. They all go out and they come back in. So it made it kind of easy for us to recognize who we are and who our relatives are. And was it a mistake? I think that's something the Creator did just for us. So that when it was time for us to stand up and be who we are, we could look over and see, this is my brother and this is my sister. We're going to do things together.